this is more of a cross between idea generation and a tip for student category. And like I actually was talking to my friends about this, and we both agree that we wish that when we were in high school, like we would have more opportunities to shadow professional, um, so that we can actually see if we're compatible with a certain type of work day to day. For example, like if I wanted to be a banker, I would want to stand behind the counter and see um, bank tellers like interact with people, and then I would know that, like being a teller isn't just about handling money. You have to think about the customers security, um have to think have to even like do promotions and advertisement, and like those kind of stuff. Like going through an internship and actually working there, like not a lot of people want to invest that time, but if we can have like shadowing sessions just for a little bit, following a professional around, I think that will help a lot to kind of like have the student thinking, oh, so what kind of characteristic of a job would I be interested in? Am I more like customer oriented, or am I more like by myself, give me work to do and I'll do it kind of like thing? Do I like problem solving, or do I like physical work, stuff like that? And I think getting students to think about these stuff sooner, they will be able to know what they're good at, what they like. And I think once you find something that you like, you have a higher chance of succeeding in it, because then it's your passion, it's stuff that you want to be doing, and not like, oh, I have to get up and I have to go to work kind of like thing. Another thing is then with a real experience, students will be able to um, like um, go through a quicker process of elimination. Like I'm lucky because I was able to do that process of elimination in my head. Like I know that I can't remember a lot of stuff for long term, so bio stuff is not for me. I get queasy with blood. I don't like to see gross stuff like images in real life, stuff like that. Bio is definitely not for me, and I don't want to keep on studying like till late nights just remembering stuff. And so pharmacy is kind of like along the borderline too of that, where it's a lot of memorization. So not that I'm not good with chemistry or physics, like those sciencey stuff. I can do them, but I don't like them, and I didn't really see a like what I can do with such a background that I'm interested in. So that went like out the window. I really don't want to like major in English. Um, so English is out. And then no dancing, no art entertainment. I just don't have the look or the talent, and I'm very awkward in front of a camera. So, like, after like basically those are the majors already, and I already crossed them all down. So the last one is pretty much art or um, art computery stuff. And with art, I started too late because I mean I did have talent in it like when I was small, but since I didn't develop it, it got rusty, and then I didn't have a portfolio to turn into for the application. So I threw something together last minute, and it wasn't up to par. So I was kind of like, nah, I probably wouldn't get in with that portfolio. But like if I knew that those were my two options, I would have weighed them more, you know, more equally if I had time to work on them. But the thing is, with art, I was kind of afraid too, because I'm like, okay, so I might like graphic designing, but art is really meticulous for me. And I remember a really bad experience in fourth grade where the teacher just keep on making me redo and redo and refine and like add details. And I'm like, to me, I look at it and I'm like, I'm happy with it. It's me. Like, we had to draw a self-portrait. I'm like, that's me. I don't want to add any more details to it. And like, he just keep on making me, so that really pissed me off. So I thought that maybe it wouldn't be my thing, spending hours trying to add details to something. I just want to get it done and get it working, and I'm practical. So then, and my dad, like in the past, he actually does a lot with computer and stuff, so it was interesting. So out of all my options, I narrowed it down to computer science, and that was like a perfect major for me. I mean, I went in, I was really behind, I didn't know as much like programming, and I didn't know anything about computer as all the guys there, but I caught up really fast because it makes sense to me, and I can do problem solving very well, and I organize my code well too. And yeah, it just worked out perfectly, but not a lot of people are as lucky as me. And then they will go into college and they will change majors. And when you change majors, you're wasting time and you're wasting money. Some of my friends said that they should have gone in undeclared, but I think if they actually did that, they'll regret it. Cause the thing is, like, you spent the first few years doing your GEs, but you that's that's like, you could have taken core classes during those first few years too, but instead you have to go around different department trying to find what you want to do. And college is expensive. It's not cheap. So the thing is, why do you want to do that when you don't have time? You're kind of like, you have 4 years, and if you stay too long, some colleges will actually kick you out. So why do you do that when you could have been doing that in high school? When you're a high school student, you have time. If you don't have time, you make time, because this is something that is really important for you later on. So the thing is, there should be more opportunities for students to find out what they like in high school. Shadowing opportunities, professional signing up, taking these kids in. Of course, there can be requirements, because they might not want to have kids who, like, who would steal money, going to look at a bank, going behind the bank counter and standing there looking at tellers. That might be a consideration. But if we can set up a system like that, that will be very helpful to students, I think. And it starts them thinking, instead of just telling them, oh, you should think about your future. Why not make it kind of like a curriculum, a course, where you spend maybe, like, kind of like maybe an extracurricular activity too. You spend some of your time trying to find out what it is that you want to do in the future. For students now, since they don't I haven't seen that kind of stuff around, so here's what I suggest you to do. You need to do it yourself. You need to look at what you're good at and see, how do you transform that into a business, or how do you envision, like, what kind of job can you do for the rest of your life using that talent that you have, using that thing that you're good at. And I think that will be a start. For example, if you like cars, go to car auctions. There's a lot of public auctions around. Go there and see what kind of car they're selling, how much they're selling it for. Um, take some automotive class at the community college so that you can check out the cars to see if it's a good car or not. And then think about business opportunities, because in this world, I think you're never gonna make it. Like, you're never gonna be rich if you work under someone. You can be, but you can be rich if you start a business. So yeah, so like, right now you don't have money, but if you have that idea, if you have that business idea, you can save money for that business purpose. And buying and like flipping a car, it doesn't take a lot of investment. I mean, right now on Craigslist, probably a crappy car, you can sell it for 1,500 to 2,500, depending on how well you fix it up. So the thing is that these auction cars are clean title. Government cars have to be clean title for it to be available to the public. So if you can get a good bid, if you know your pricing and you go during a good time, usually around like I guess November, December, that's when people are lowest on money because they have to spend it on gifts. Then you can definitely like sell it back for a higher price. Yeah. So what else do I say? Oh yeah, then you can think about, after you do that for a while, you know how to fix cars, you know how to check out cars, you can then think about getting a dealer license. Then you can go to the dealer only auctions, which give you more advantage. See, like, that's just one thing that you can do. If you're into art or video, stuff like that, spend your time, instead of playing game, instead of watching people on YouTube, make your own YouTube video. If you're into gaming, make your own game instead of playing games. See, then you have a head start. Everyone else your age would have been doing all the other stuff normal people do, but with you have a head start. You're honing in on your interests, you're developing your talent, and you have a lot of time to do that. And by the time that you graduate, you're already ahead. You're already ahead of the game. And people, I think businesses, they like people who have a drive, who have ambition, who's young but talented. And once you establish yourself to be someone like that, a lot of people will come looking for you. So just, I think starting young, starting early is always key. You're always going to be ahead of the game if you start early. And then if you start early, if you make a mistake, you have more time to change, more time to fix, more time to start over if necessary. If you start working on something for 2 years and then you're like, you know what, this is not for me, you still have time, instead of like feeling like, oh, now I don't have time anymore, I need to graduate, I need to get a job, I have a family now, I have to take care of them, stuff like that. Start early. And I think start small is also important. Like I said in one of my other video, you make very realistic, incremental goals for yourself, so that you can improve a little bit by a little bit. Then you will always feel successful, and you'll always feel like you're improving instead of being stagnant or even falling back. Another example that I wanted to bring up that I think will be helpful for you is, I think real estate is a really big market. but sooner or later you're gonna own a home. So you need to look into real estate early, because there are some I noticed the cycle, like usually, well, the last within my lifetime there has been two cycle, and they're like usually 10 years apart, where the housing market just boom and it goes really really low. The interest rate go low, um, home prices fall, and then it went high again. So the thing is that if you're on a market, you know what you're looking for, you can kind of see this cycle, and then you can save money for your first down payment. And then when the market goes low, then you grab it, because a lot of life is knowing when it's an opportunity and grabbing it and making use of it. So with housing, you know, you see a low market, you grab it. Then your first house, you should make it very cheap, because I think of my first house as an investment. Like, I might not live there for a long time, but then if anything, I can always rent it out, and that will be my investment property. I'm not gonna pay like 500,000 for it, because it's just my first home. It can be a very small home, and very shabby. May in a okay neighborhood, not like the best neighborhood with the best school or whatever, but it's livable, and it's kind of like an income property. Then I can live there for a bit, and when I have a family, then now we have two income. We can go out and buy something nicer, still have this one for rent. Then you have a good source of income, just in case there's a market problem, or a market failure, or someone get laid off or something. You still have another source of income coming in. And then if you buy it low enough, that income from that income property can even pay for a lot of your expenses once the housing market goes up again. So looking at stuff like that, and like like being aware of the stuff around you, that's gonna help you a lot. Another thing is stock. There's a lot of time where I'm like, oh, if I knew that back in high school, I would have invested a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't have a lot of money to put into stock, but it goes up. So if you if you liked it, a company, or if you think they're gonna be successful, just buy it. I mean, you're young. If you lose money, you still have time to make it back. So, but just don't gamble. Like, don't put your whole life onto it. Once you play stock, for me, like once I put the money into stock, I consider that money lost, and I just let it do what it does, and I don't care about it, because I don't know everything about stock, like, or not even a little bit about stock. I just know that it's a type of investment, and so I'm just gonna put it in there. I find stuff that, or companies that I trust, that I will do well, and I just leave it there. So I mean, I'm not very active, but it's it's an investment. Find things to invest in, and like before the market went down, so I was able to put a few buy a few stock, and I just leave it there, and I just it was really super cheap. I spent like 500 and for those stocks, because it went down really low, and now I think it double. I mean, it's not a lot, but it double. I mean, you don't get that in the bank, and it's kind of like free money. It just double. So if you consider it as loss, and now like you have twice as much as you thought you was lost, I mean, I think that's a good feeling to have. So look at all of that, and hopefully you'll listen to my recommendation to start small, start young, and start now. And be aware of the stuff around you. Be aware of yourself, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and focus and try to find ways that to make what you're good at to become something that you can do for whole life, because life is only fun when you can do stuff you love, and then it won't feel like a chore going to work every day. Okay, well, hope that helps.